Right. So the reason I'm doing this is because I've used Freeagent for a number of years, and I've got to the point where I know it's going to be really beneficial for a lot of my clients to help with their bookkeeping, help with for me to do VAT and payroll and the year-end accounts and the corporation tax. So I've used loads of different software over the years. So Sage, Xero, QuickBooks, all the different softwares. And I think this is going to be the easiest one for my clients to pick up. It's simple, easy to use. You can't really break it. And it, because it's cloud software, it means that I can access it anytime and you can access it. And if there's any query or anything, I can load up the same screen and just help talk you through it. They also have their own kind of training areas on the website, and also their own support team as well. So if for any reason I can't help or fix a problem, you know, we've always got those as backups as well. So what I've done is Dougie's kindly loaded in like a test client and some test data, so I can kind of talk you through setting up an account from scratch, which I would take care of anyway. So I know Diane's been using the software for some time. Jenny, I've moved JC Shopfitters across to the software already, and I'm going to come and sit with you next week.
Okay.
And Kay, obviously we haven't yet moved direct property onto it yet, but the lads are quite excited about it because it'll help with their rentals as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so this isn't just like a training session and then off you pop on your own. This is going to be like kind of the first real step. And Diane, you know, I kind of wish I'd brought this on sooner for a lot of my clients. So
Okay.
So yeah, so where I want to start, let me just share my screen. That is the one. Right, so you should be able to see Freeagent now.
Okay, yeah.
Great. So just get rid of that. Right. So the Freeagent website is, you just go to their website, which is just like any other around the world. By the way, this will probably take, I think, I'm going to aim to get finished for 4 o'clock.
Okay.
If you do have any questions at all, do stop me. You can either just shout up, because there's only a couple of us here, so that's fine.
Okay.
If there is some background noise, would you mind just putting yourself on mute? So like if the phone goes in the background or something like that, just so I can just crack on for the others, if that's all right.
Okay.
So this is the Freeagent website. Just go to freeagent.com. Obviously, you can bookmark that for yourselves. And you would just click login. It takes you up to this screen, and obviously you put in your email address and password like you would log into anywhere else. And then once you're logged in, it'll bring you to this screen here. So this is like the main dashboard of information. So it will just generally show you what cash has come in and what cash has gone out, and basically what your current bank balance is. It links up automatically to your bank, so it'll download your transactions automatically from whichever bank you're with. And I haven't found one that it hasn't partnered with yet. I don't know if there's any exceptions, Dougie, if there's any banks that you're waiting on.
As far as I'm aware, there's Co-op, the Co-op bank, and I think we have had issues with TSB. That's not to say though that it's not working. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But we're waiting for TSB to rectify that. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the first things that I would recommend that we do when I set this up with you is that we link up your bank account. So let me just pop this on. So when we first set this up, I have to obviously put some like company details in. So the company name, the address, you know, company registration number, tax reference numbers and whatnot. We then can set up the users. So
Okay.
basically I would take care of this for you, but I would have a login because I'm the accountant and the owner, so I can get access that way. And then I would set up, you know, yourselves as kind of people who are going to be doing data entry and inputting of the information and the invoicing and whatnot. So you would have a login, and then also in each of your cases, the business owner or directors will also probably want to have a login as well. And
Can you do more than 2? Can you do 3, 4 logins
Yeah.
or something like that? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so this is a list of all the users on this test account. I don't know who these people are, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a test account. But you can also, when you click into them, you can put, obviously, you would put in the national insurance numbers and date of birth if you're going to put them on the payroll through the system, and I'll cover that a little bit later.
Okay.
This is where you would send them a password reset, but you can also set the level of access as well. So where you're putting someone on the payroll, you've got an actual employee. Jenny, we won't be able to use this because it doesn't do weekly wages. So just discard anything I say about payroll, because we're going to have continue with our own solution for you. But if it does do monthly payroll really well. So if you just want to set up someone as a user to get their pay slips, you can just have to give them no access on there.
Okay.
And the level of access can go up and up and up on this sliding scale. So full access means you can file the VAT returns and file the year-end accounts. But there might be a case that you kind of restrict someone so they can only look at kind of like projects or invoices or something like that. So that's that. But I'll be setting up all the individual users, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But if there is any changes, any people, new people starting in the businesses, then there. We've got Diane. Would you be able to hang on a second? I might be able to do it. Diane, I'm going to put you on mute because there's obviously background noise. I can hear Gary in the background. So if you do want to mention anything, you're going to have to take yourself off mute. You'll still be able to hear me though.
All right.
So just so I can, so people can hear me. Right, there we go. Okay. So this is the main settings section, where you know there's loads of different options, of course. Now, again, I'll be setting everything up, so you shouldn't have to go in here for many reasons at all. So we'll not worry about that too much. Now, one of the first things we're going to do is link up the bank account. So if you click on banking and bank accounts, in here in this test account, there are 4 different accounts. There's a loan account, a petty cash account, and a current account. So most businesses just have a kind of one current account, and you would link that up. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He'll stop in a second. So when you go in here, this is already downloaded. This is kind of a completed bank account. It's already downloaded and sorted all of the transactions that have come in. Now, obviously, when you first start, it's not going to have your transactions in here. And the way to get them in is to enable the bank feed. Now, the easiest way to enable the bank feed, because you have to log in to the bank account, the easiest way to do that is on a mobile phone. So you can download the Freeagent app, log in using your username and password, and the easiest way to do that is on a device that already has got logged in to the online banking software. So that would generally be the person who makes the payments, the business owner. So if you've got Freeagent and you click enable your bank feed on the mobile phone, it'll take you to the banking app, and it'll just use Face ID or your passcode to log in, and then all of your transactions will automatically be downloaded into Freeagent from your bank account the day after they occur.
Okay.
And that bank feed lasts for 90 days. So it means that you don't have to type in any bank transactions at all. They're already loaded in. All we need to do is match them up. So for
Okay.
instance, what would come through is it might say in the description like Currys or Furniture World or something like that, and then we just have to basically put in, if it's a bill payment, if you're paying off a bill, then you put it through there. But most things in a business these days is just paid straight away on a debit or credit card. So all you would do is, if it's furniture, you might just put that down to office equipment and just put the VAT. Was there any VAT charge on it? 20%, and then that's it. Just literally click save, and then that's the transaction entered in.
So, you know, for each week, so would you go through that and do all that, or would we have to go through each item?
So you would do it. So
Okay.
so at the minute, each of you all have your own systems for basically keeping the books. So in your instance, it's a spreadsheet. So what would happen is you'd stop filling in the spreadsheet and would move over to this.
Okay.
Basically, so there would only be one lot of data entry.
Okay.
But what this means is, I can get the things that I need for that. You can, keep the books in line and make sure. I make sure that we're HMRC compliant.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that the really good thing about this software is it's management information for the business owners. So it means that they can see what their bank balance is, what tax bills have got coming up. You can make decisions based on the software. How was our sales done this month? How do they compare to last month? What's the profit like? What's our costs running, our monthly costs and all that kind of stuff. So that's where we want to get to. But to do that, we need to basically do a couple of different things. So I've covered setting up the company and setting up the users. We've got the bank feed. Now, the next thing to do is, I think that the invoicing facility on here is brilliant. So if you want to all use it for your sales invoicing, then that would be really helpful. Diane, I know you obviously already do it. Kay, I think that the lads just use a template, don't they?
No, so we use Invoice to Go.
Right. Okay.
For all invoicing.
So what would happen is you'd stop using Invoice to Go, and then we can just use this system, because the reason for that is it automatically knows from your bank account when you've received a payment for that invoice, so it can automatically match it up.
Can you show me how to create an invoice on here and everything? I don't tend to do some invoicing. And it's got to be pretty, so lads can use it quite quickly. Yeah,
absolutely. So what you would do first is you set up a contact. So the person who you want to invoice, you'd set them up. So add a new contact.
Okay.
So you would put the person who you're going to invoice.
Okay.
Put my name and details in there. So. And then you would put their email address in there.
Okay.
And you can also put in the telephone number if that's useful, the invoicing address as well, and then the default payment terms. So whatever you agree with that customer. So for me, when I invoice a client, my payment terms are 0. So when I've completed the work, I want paying straight away. So I generally, but most businesses be like 7 or 14 days, or whatever you want to put in. I mean, zero is the best payment terms you can get, really. So you can put 0 days in there.
Okay.
And then you can put your VAT charging criteria in there. So obviously, Diane would just do standard VAT. Kay, you have a bit of a mixture, don't you? You've got 20% and 5%.
Yeah.
So you would basically, either always or only if the contact a business in England.
Okay.
Just do UK invoicing. You can put their VAT registration number in there if you want, but then you would just create new contact. So I just set myself up as a contact, and it means that we can then start looking at invoicing. So you've got add new invoice. So it comes up with an invoice reference automatically. So HMRC's law says you should really invoice sequentially.
Yeah.
So that Freeagent does that automatically for you. It'll automatically put in the invoice date as today's date, and then it'll ask you for the payment terms to confirm them. That feeds in automatically from the contact, but you can change it if it's specific. You can also add any additional text. So that might be like, you know, a link to pay an invoice here, or it might be paid by direct debit, or whatever you want to put in. And
Sorry, Craig, can I just interrupt? There's an interesting little feature there.
Yeah.
On the invoice date, if you want to invoice in advance, so for instance, if you're going on holiday next week or something like that, you can put that dates. So you can put next week's date or whatever, and then it will send the invoice on that particular date, which is quite a handy wee feature.
Yeah, that is handy. I didn't know that. So I do use that feature for my recurring invoices, my monthly invoices. But yeah, so that's good. Thank you. And then there's also online payment options here as well. So I use Go Cardless, but you can also use PayPal and stuff to get paid. And you can link them up, and it'll obviously have like a button on the invoice to pay it, and it'll take you to PayPal. And obviously, the money will go in the PayPal account, and you have to download it. So if it's not really relevant for for your 3 businesses, but that could be relevant for other clients. And then, so invoice emails. So you would click email this invoice automatically using the default template. So you can click on that and basically put in, so it would put in the contact's email address automatically, the invoice reference in the subject automatically, and then the contact's first name. And it would basically fire, you can fire that off once we've finished the invoice. It'll just send it. You can also take email payment reminders if the invoice goes unpaid. So I've also just started using this so that you can basically set up like quick reminders so that automatic reminders. So this would send an email. Say if you've done a 7-day payment terms, this would send an email on day 6 to remind them to pay it. And then it would also send another reminder 4 days after the invoice is due. So it'll be day 11. And then every 2 days, it'll automatically just keep emailing your clients until they pay you. So, your clients are going to get sick of getting the email until, they're going to pay you. So I think that's a really good feature personally, because it just takes the time out of chasing your invoices. I've got lots and lots of clients who I bill, some smaller amounts to, and chasing them just becomes a bit of a pain. So for my invoicing system to do it automatically is great. And then you can also click here to email a thank you once the invoice has been paid. So I'm also going to start using that because I think it just looks a little bit more professional to say that, we've received your payment. Now that's obviously going to be a day after they've actually made it, because it's just going to take a day to download the transactions into Freeagent, but it's still, I think it's still worthwhile. Invoice discount. So that's if you basically give it a discount to pay early, which is a bit of a 1980s thing. I haven't seen anybody do that in a long time. But if the client needs a PO reference, that can go on there as well. And then you can alter which bank account you want it to be paid into, but generally everyone just wants paying in the same account. So that's that. So this is basically to a point where you're creating the invoice.
You can use letterheaded paper in here as well.
Yeah. So what you would do is you'd load in your logo. Okay. So in the settings, when I'm setting this up, you can load in your logo.
Oh, your company logo. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So you would just select the file and upload that, and then that would just stick it on anything that gets sent from here.
Okay.
On there. So I'll just go back to where I was. So I'd created these. That's all right. Hey, ask any questions, because I'll just steamroll through this and not even not even realize. So just make sure you do ask any questions at all. So we've got the one second, let me just check something. Let me just check something while I'm on. Fine. I'm just making sure that there's nobody waiting to be admitted into the system. But that's fine. Don't think there is. So, right. So we've created the invoice, and then it's time to add like invoice line items. So for some clients, that might just be one line item to say, job done as per request or as per PO. For some clients, it might be separated out into a few different services, and there can be different VAT treatment on those services. Now, you can add certain things if you're going to use them all the time to your price list. So if there's a certain thing, so for me, it would be a personal tax return. It costs X amount, and I use that all the time. So I basically add that to my price list, and then as soon I can basically just invoice it a little bit quicker. But you can invoice different quantities of different things. So I generally, for my business, just use services. But if you've got expenses that you want to charge, or you want to charge by the hour, or you want a discount, or whatever you want to do, or you've supplied to materials, you would put products. But generally, you're going to have services. And let's just say this is conversion.
If you're actually doing an invoice and then you end up doing a job a month later and you can't remember will it keep a list of everything that you've itemized, on a price list or something?
Yeah. So you would add, if you wanted to add everything to your price list, everything that you invoice, you can literally just put it there. Obviously, if you have a varying price for the same service, that could cause you a bit of mischief. But I would add it to the price list, and then you can it's just easy to put in on the drop down.
Okay.
So price list name. So conversion of a care home in particular, it's cost £10,000. You've got your different VAT options here. So VAT 20%. Reduced would be for hospitality and leisure only. As in, if you're in a restaurant, if you are a restaurant and you're the customer, that's the only time you would really use 12.5. And then the reduced rate of 5%, or you've got 0 and exempt as well. So for this case, it's going to be 5% VAT. So I've just spelled that wrong, but never mind. So then this is created the invoice. Obviously, if you put your logo in, it's going to appear here. This is the customer name, and it's got the payment terms on there. It's got your bank account and sort code on the bottom, company registration number. It would have your VAT number on there. What we can do now is either schedule to send that, as Dougie mentioned. You can send that you can do all your invoicing in advance of when you need to send it. But generally, you would just send the invoice on the same day. So
if you did them all and you didn't want to send them for a week and you put schedule, you don't have to go back in. It'll just do it automatically then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to send it straight away, just click send by email, and then this will obviously be sending it to myself. I'm happy. That basically just puts in basic content to a point where you can just go right, send. And then that should come through on my emails. I'll just show you the opposite side. Open this up. So can you see this invoice in PDF?
Yeah.
Right. So that it looks a bit more professional when you got your logo and stuff. Just all test data, but that's a sample of what it would look like. So I'll minimize that again. Right. So you've sent your invoice and the client hasn't paid. So basically what you have is this list. This is basically all of your sales invoices in this list. If you wanted to just see who the naughty people are and haven't paid your bills, you click on overdue. Just give you overdue invoices. And you can just click this little button down here, send reminder. You can send now, or you can preview if you want to send a specific message like, this is your last chance, otherwise we're taking you to court. And you just stick that in there. Please don't forget to pay this invoice. You can be as polite or as harsh as you want, of course.
Okay.
So, and then you can run different reports in here. So you can see invoices that are just being paid when overdue, which isn't anything because it's just test data. Any recent invoices and all that kind of stuff. So that's that.
So when that's paid, it'll pick it up from when you're uploading your accounts into it, that your bank account. Yeah.
So so say you've got that 10,500 on there. Let me just, I'll pretend that it's come through. So you can add a manual transaction, but you won't have to do that if you've got your bank linked up.
Okay.
But say it's 10,500. It's an invoice receipt. You basically, what you do is, this isn't quite what you do, but basically the transaction will come up and it'll say date, who's paid you, and the amount, and it'll automatically try and match it up to an invoice.
Okay.
Obviously, if there's numerous invoices, then we'll just need to match it up to the numerous invoices.
It will be as well. So because if we get paid, it sometimes will be like 40 invoices or 50 invoices or something like that.
Yeah. So generally you would have the remittance in front of you, and you basically just mark them off as you're going through.
Okay.
So so yeah, that's how you would deal with that. So if you click create and finish, this is basically put in time period. This is sorted by the way, so that's where it is, right? So when it comes in, it'll basically just say, right, Credit Card Accounting Services Limited has paid you on this date this amount, right? And then you click on this bit and you match it off against, like, you put invoice receipt. So if that money is coming in to pay an invoice, you put invoice receipt, and it'll automatically try and match it off.
Okay.
So it's showing as nil. But if it was one of the other invoices, so say you've got, like, you know, like you said, 40 invoices. Say we've paid 10,500. You click that, and then click. Actually, you click more options. No, do it from the other screen. So what you do is you'd match it off against that.
Yeah.
Value outstanding can't be more outstanding.
Could you do a list of outstanding invoices and just tick them off as you know, can you do it like that?
Yeah. I have done this before. Once asked because it's matched off there, look. So if I did that, so you've got 10,500 receipt, and then you've got 3,900, and you click save. I've done this before, Dougie. Can you know?
I'm not so sure where you're going wrong here.
Because it should just give you match the 3,900 and then just give you the remaining balance to match off against the next invoice, and then the balance just keeps going.
Absolutely.
I've seen that before. Might be because it was manually added, perhaps.
No, it shouldn't make a difference. Just go to any other transactions coming.
Yeah.
Just try and pay that off against any other invoice.
Right. More options. See if I can. All the other transactions are matched up, so I can't delete that. I'll add another manual one and just see invoice receipt 20,000, create and finish. I think it might be because I matched up. No, it's not. 20,000.
Maybe it is because it's mine.
Yeah. So when I've done this on my system, and we'd be able to, we'd just either speak to the kind of support team or whatever.
Okay.
Generally, you can match it off against individual invoices, and then there'll be a remaining balance, which you then, keep going through until it matches your remittance advice, and then you invoice. So that's how you do it. So yeah. Now, from an invoicing perspective, there are a couple of little important bits for relating to the construction scheme. So one is enabling CIS and the other is VAT. So that's all right. So sometimes when you're invoicing in the construction industry, obviously this won't apply to you, Diane, but it will the other two ladies. So we're raising an invoice, and we know that it falls under CIS and the reverse charge. Okay. Now, Kay, you might not come up with, you probably want to come up against this because yours is an end customer, isn't it? But sometimes in the construction industry scheme, if you're working for another contractor, you'll get something called the VAT reverse charge and CIS, and they generally go hand in hand. So if you're raising an invoice for a customer, Jenny, I know you've got this at your business. You would basically see this here, autofill from your price list. So you would just click, you might have like the top 5 or 10 things that you invoice in there, and that would automatically just put the amount in the description for you. So that's just populated from last time, so that wasn't there before. So right, we've got test, we've got 10,000, and then hang on a sec, reverse charge, fine.
I don't think we've ever done that. We just charge them the 20% because we're usually the main contractor, you see.
Right.
I think the only time CIS is ever involved for us is when we get an invoice from a subcontractor, then we deduct 20% from them. But I don't think we just charge the 20%. Yeah.
Now, I think there is one that they deduct 20% from you, and I think they have Castle in the name, so it's not
Castle.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say the full customer name to not break GDPR, but basically, yeah, they do take 20% off you. Yeah. And I'm just showing you the way that you would enter that here. So when you're invoicing, you need to put the CIS category here, and it would always be 20%. So you click on that CIS income, and you click the reverse charge, so you don't add any VAT when you charge them. Now I know Jago normally does all the invoicing, doesn't he? So it's what I'm going to do next week when I come over is I'm going to show him how to do it, and I think he's going to prefer this to having the method he currently does, but let's just see.
Fingers crossed.
So when I've entered that in there, so you've got CIS deduction 20%. Income category. Right, so you would put in here, when you're putting your unit price in, you basically put in there, is it normal sales or is it subject to 20%? Click that, and then the CIS deduction comes in, and that's basically what they'll end up paying you.
Yeah.
There's no VAT charge because it comes under the reverse charge as well. Reverse charge supplies. So that shows that there. So that's how you do that. That's only in the instance for that particular customer. Right. Okay. If anybody does any recurring invoices, as in it's the same amount every month, you can do that using a recurring profile. But I don't think that's particularly relevant for any of you three. So that's fine. But you basically set up, I use this for my customers, so that on the first of the month, I basically invoice all my customers for monthly charges. The invoices go out automatically and they're collected automatically through Go Cardless. And and so that's how that's done. Just follow it through there like you would normally in the other invoice. Now, the other interesting thing you've got in here is projects. So this could be Diane, for instance, if the lads are doing a camper van, you would put all the costs and you can associate all the costs against this, and then and also the sales invoice as well, so you can see what the profitability is on it. K, for the lads, it would be like one particular big job or project they're doing. You probably wouldn't bother doing it for like repair jobs or maintenance.
So for a big job, yeah, to be a good idea then. Yeah.
One of the conversions, you can then track what your costs are and how much.
Okay.
And then Jenny, same for you. Really, we can obviously put in, you know, whatever costs are related to a particular project. So when this tender's gone in, you can track whether it's been successful or not at the end of the job.
Okay.
So you can set up a project. So you'd add a new project, whatever you want to call it. So it might be like conversion of the Sun Inn, which is the pub where I used to work when I was a kid, to a care home, something like that. And then status is active. You can just kind of go through the options here. So if we did want to track that, create a new project. And then when you're putting invoices in and bills, you can assign it to the project.
Okay.
So in terms of invoicing, sales invoicing, that pretty much covers it, I think, unless anybody's got any questions.
No.
Sounds pretty good.
Dougie, have I missed anything on sales invoicing, do you think?
I think so.
Right, great.
To be honest, what I would say is once you get the hang of it, or once you try it yourselves, it's dead easy.
Yeah, you do the first one, and you know it is a doddle to do it. So, but what I would do is, because I am going to spend some time with each of you just to make sure that you're happy with it, and then just, you know, make sure you spend some time on your own, because that's how I kind of learn, is just playing around with stuff and just making sure.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I do it. So, the next section really is bills, and this is your costs. So there's two ways of entering these in. One is dead simple, and that is if somebody goes to the fuel station, and they've got a petrol receipt and they paid on the card for a meal or whatever, then it'll automatically just come through on the bank account, and it'll you can kind of literally just click on the transaction. You say, right, it was business entertaining, there was VAT on it, 60 quid, and just basically what is it, and then click save changes, and that is dead simple, and that's the way I run mine the easiest, is just to wait till the bank transactions come through and then just assign them a category. Once you've assigned them a category, you can also then upload a file, which would be like a
receipt.
Yeah, the receipt, exactly. So you can either upload, and the easiest way to do this is on your mobile phone. So I've got a video here of the mobile app.
Is it just as easy though on a laptop as a mobile?
I think it's even easier on a mobile. So
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to log in on your mobile phone into Freeagent, because I'll show you why. Can you see this new screen, which looks like a mobile phone, sort of?
Yeah.
Right. So this is just the test data, but this is what the mobile app looks like. So this is the main screen. So it's a bit like the dashboard you see when you first log in. If you click play, this is just play. I basically just screen recorded, so I'm going to be stopping it at various points.
Okay.
Now, this is your bank accounts. So if you click on banking in this bottom right corner here,
Okay.
you click in your bank account, and you would click on that button up there and enable bank feed down the bottom. So click on the bank account, cover that again, 3 dots up here.
Yeah.
Enable the bank feed, and then that just automatically takes you to whatever banking app you use, and it logs it in straight away. So if that's one of the directors doing that, that's like the easiest way you can log in and do your connect your bank account. You have to do that every 90 days. There is a change to the way that's working, but Freeagent's going to sort all that out for you. So basically, if you don't have the banking app on your phone, it would take you to the web page to log in, and it's got all the different banks there as well. So that's good. There is a different way to do it for certain banks, like Starling. So with Starling, you have to go through the browser. So I have to be logged in on a desktop to do that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's relevant for anybody. But you basically log into your normal banking, and then you just click on, just Google like Freeagent integration, and it'll talk you through that. I've got some links as well to share. So when you've got your bank linked up, obviously all your transactions load in, and you can sort them on the mobile phone, which is a doddle to do. You can then, you can also, this is just showing you how to chase sales invoices and produce your sales invoices on your phone as well. And then just skipping through, here we go. So on the expenses, on the bills tab, there's a little button down here with a plus. And if you click on that, it comes up with some options, and you can either add a new expense, a sales invoice, an estimate, a bill, a new contact, or you can click capture for later. So what that is basically, as the lads are on the go, they can basically whip out the phone, click capture for later, and that will take a photo of the receipt, and Freeagent will automatically recognize where that receipt's from. So it might be like Reliance service station, or Juicens, or wherever it might be, and it'll recognize that, and it'll automatically wait for you to for the payment to come through on the bank, and it'll match it up automatically. So it'll even just, and basically doing that is effectively doing your books for you. So I've just kind of had a piece of paper in front of me and pretended that was a receipt. So you just basically, take a photo of it on your phone. It'll recognize it. Obviously, that's not an invoice and there's no information on there.
Yeah.
But you upload it, save it to your files. You can either make it private or everybody can see it. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything you need to be having as private that I haven't seen anywhere. And then that's just thinking about what it's seen. Basically, it's trying to pick up like the invoice name and the amount and stuff.
Okay.
So that, and you can also then add that to the project and stuff like that as well. So yeah, so that's that. So what I'll do is I'll share that video as well, so you can just kind of watch. But the easiest way to learn is just downloading the app and just logging in, I think. That's the mobile app, and I do really like it, and I think it is going to save loads and loads of time. So that's the simplest way of entering your expenses, is just waiting for the bank transaction to pull through, and then uploading the receipt. The second way you can do it is if you've got a receipt that you want to put through, but you're not going to pay it yet, as in it's on a 30-day account or something like that, but you want to make sure it's in there for your VAT return or whatever, and you just want to load it in, then you can add a new bill. Say it's for me. I know I'm a customer, but I'm also, you can see I'm also a supplier. Put in whatever the invoice reference is, whatever the bill date is, put the due date in there, total amount. There's VAT included of 20%, or you've got the other options there. You've got the reverse charge option as well. And then for my fees, it would go down as accountancy fees. You can link it to a project here. You can put a recurring bill in there. So if that is my bill, then generally it's the same amount on the 1st of every month. And you can just put that in, so it'll automatically just load in and input that data automatically. So if you've got other things that are fixed amounts, I'm trying to think, like the utilities always vary. But if you've got any other kind of subscriptions that you pay, insurance maybe, that you want to just think, I'll set this up as a recurring bill, and then I don't have to put anything in. that's how you put that in there. And if you want to upload the attachment, put that there, and create and finish. And once you've loaded the bill in, again, it'll look for the transaction on the bank account, and it'll automatically try and match it up for you. So that's that. The other features in here, you can put expenses through. So if the directors have paid for something personally, you can put that through there. You can put dividends through, which I'll be taking care of. Put your salary through and run the payroll through here as well, if it's monthly payroll, and nice and simple. So I'll be moving people off my payroll system onto here, and the key month of doing that is going to be April. It's the easiest month for payroll systems. So where possible, I'm going to be putting people on here. It's going to be a couple of clients. If you pay weekly wages or anything like that, then it's a bit more difficult, and I'll probably just keep things as they are. There's a couple of other sections in here that I've got access to, which is things like the VAT. So this would have all of your VAT returns in here filed, and it also will estimate the latest return. So you can always keep a running total of what the current next VAT bill is going to be. This is generated automatically from your sales invoices, and you can, there's just basically two questions. Is it going to be on the invoice basis or cash basis? Generally, you want the cash basis because you only pay the VAT over when you've received it. But there are some limits to that. So you can only do that if you're less than like 2 million turnover, basically, or 1.7. So you have to be on the invoice basis. The flat rate scheme, no one's on anymore anyway. And then if there's any adjustments that I need to make to the VAT return, I would do them there. And then I basically kind of review and file the VAT return from here. If you want to see the detail that makes that up, you can click on full report. And this will basically list down all your sales invoices, what have been paid, and then all your purchase invoices and all your expenses as well.
Okay.
So that's just a very long detailed list.
Yeah.
Now, that in terms of data entry, that kind of covers it. Let me just I think.
Okay.
Dougie, is there anything you think that I've missed or haven't quite covered in enough depth?
As far as data entry is concerned, no. What I would suggest is the overview screen and possibly going over the outstanding liabilities that are on there. So as you scroll down, the tax timeline.
Yeah.
This is unique to Freeagent. No other software has this. And it just keeps you up to date with what's going on within your business and what taxes are due and when they're due.
Okay.
And it's real time as well. So anytime anything changes, those figures change as well. So you can actually see that your VAT is due on a specific date. So when Craig asks for X amount of money for HMRC, there's no excuse for you to turn around and say, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it was quite handy in the mobile app is that it will send, if you set up the reminders in the mobile app, it will remind you a week beforehand that your VAT is due or your corporation tax is due or so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that is really good, really handy. Obviously, I have my own lists and my own kind of list for all client deadlines and stuff. But just for the client to be able to see, when the VAT's due and reminders and all that kind of stuff, that's really helpful. So in terms of data entry, then that's pretty much it. It is, I think, very user friendly, very straightforward. Once you've done it for a first few times and you get the gist of it, it's really simple. And I'm obviously very happy to help as much as possible. I'm happy to book 1 hour slots or whatever we need to be to get you get people up and running on this. I appreciate it's always hard moving to a new system, but I really think it's worthwhile in this case. That's why I've kind of held off until I've been so certain about moving kind of as many of my clients as possible onto one system. So this overview screen is really handy. the main things I look at for my business is how much have I invoiced, because I always try and set myself a target of trying to get to a certain point, and also how many of those invoices are overdue.
Yeah.
And you can click on there and it'll just show overdue invoices, so the total amount outstanding, and then these are the naughty people that you need to chase. Estimates, I don't personally use them, but they might be handy for you, Diane, to send out as well, to clients. And then projects, I don't personally use them, but they could be really handy, you know, for your instance, Kay, where you've got different building projects going on.
Okay.
And then timesheets. Jenny, we could use this as a solution for generating the weekly payroll hours and stuff. You could give individual users their own login where they've only got access to just fill in a time slip, and that's it. They basically just log their hours, and then once they're approved, then we could do that. But I'll talk to you about that next week when I come over. So that's that, and then obviously it shows your bank balance in there as well. The other bits of reporting, which are also really good, is profit and loss account. So in here, it shows what your sales are, any interest received, and then it shows you all your expenses as well. And if you think, well, who has spent 44 grand on accommodation and meals? Where's that come from? You can click on the blue, anything blue in here, you can click on and get a drill down, and then it'll list everything down for you. So you can see. And then if you think, well, hang on a minute, Craig Hart, he spent £8 on teas and snacks. Well, he shouldn't have done. You can click in it and get a bit more detail about where it was spent and the amount and stuff.
Okay.
So drill downs and the reporting is really handy, because it also then gives you an operating profit and then an estimated corporation tax liability for the period. And also then just deal with like your reserves in terms of your dividends and stuff at the bottom. You can run that for different periods. So you can have a custom range. So you think, well, I'll just run the last month. So 1st of February, 1st of January to the 31st of January. This might not have any data in it because I know it's older, isn't it? Oh, it does. Perfect. So you can just run January off and see, was January a profitable month? Was it not? So I think comparatives, you know, monthly periods in there, so it'll show you by month.
I'm just on that Zoom call. I'll give you a call back.
So
Okay.
by month,
Okay, see you, bye.
which I think is really handy. You can see your operating profit there. You can see the turnover, the sales, all that kind of stuff. And then the other report I find really useful personally is the age debtors report. So this shows you who owes money and how old it is. So ignore that because that's just a payment. That's just a payment coming in. But the rest of these is like these are all over 90 days. So you need to chase these customers basically. And it gives you the age. So type works is all within 30 days. So when you think, well, I'll not bother chasing that one yet, but I will chase anything in this 90-day column is where I need to focus my energy of debt collection. So I find that a really good report. There's loads of other stuff in here as well, like trial balance, dividend vouchers. But in terms of like day-to-day running of the business, you're not going to need to use any of those.
No.
And you can change your spending categories as well. So if there's nowhere in this list that you think for a certain particular cost you want to go,
You can add to it.
you can add to it. Wasn't on that screen though. It's called, it's not in reporting, it's in settings. And
Looking for accounting categories.
I am looking for it, yeah. I was just trying to find out whereabouts it was on the screen. And then you can change them in here. So if you think you've got, you know, if you've whatever kind of business cost you've got that's unique to your business and you wanted to separate it out, you can do that in here. So staff training, click on that, and you can change the name to whatever you want. Change the nominal code
Okay.
if that's useful. So yeah, so and there's also this little alarm bell here which kind of gives you your to-do list. So if you've got any, say, like petty cash transactions that need explaining, or this bank loan account, or the current account has bank transactions that need explaining, you click on that and it'll take you to it. And the only thing to do on here is just chase the outstanding invoices. So it kind of like just keeps you on top of the stuff that you really need to focus on. So I really like it. I've had really good feedback from the clients I've put on it already, as I put a few little testers on it. They've generally been kind of one-man band contractors, but I do think it is appropriate for all of your businesses. And yeah, I'm looking forward to making my life easier, but also making your life easier as well, because I think whichever way we're doing it at the moment, this is going to cut the time down that you spend, because all the data is automatically loaded in. You don't have to physically type anything. So
Okay.
but yeah, does anybody have any questions?
No.
I think the wind's blowing the office to pieces out there.
Yeah.
Crashing glass.
Yeah.
And the door keeps opening.
Oh, yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've just heard something smash.
Oh dear. I've seen it's torn the roof of the O2.
No, I guess it has. Yeah. I saw it on the news at lunchtime.
The O2 Arena in London's been ripped open.
This is one time us Scottish can sit up here.
Yeah, pretty happy.
I'm looking outside, it's nice and calm. There's barely a breath of wind.
Great. Well, okay. So in terms of where we go from here, so I'm going to share the tutorial so that if you ever need to refer back to it, that's fine. Freeagent has a really good website and really good support. So for instance, if you say, right, Freeagent, how do I enter an invoice? Just, you want a to-do list. You click on how to enter an invoice in Freeagent, and here, and it tells you step by step.
Okay.
Craig?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. If you go back to your demo account,
yeah,
just show you something. And if you scroll to the very bottom of it,
yeah,
you see that knowledge base.
Yeah.
If you click on that, this is what you're looking for. This is
okay.
This is a mini Wikipedia, basically, of Freeagent, and that's essentially basically Craig, rather than going and Google searching. So, absolutely, this is where you get your answers.
So if I had a query about, I've done this a couple of weeks ago. I had a specific query about CIS, and then you just basically search CIS. It comes up with relevant articles, and to be honest, almost all the time, the answers I've been able to pull from here. There's only been one query that I've actually had to speak to someone about, and Dougie helped me with that. So that's fine. So this is.
Listen, Craig. The other thing, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but it will save Craig time and maybe your guys' time if you can't get hold of Craig. But the support team, I would strongly advise you using as and when. You've got a team that are dedicated to helping you on the software if you want. They're all qualified accountants. They will not take over Craig's job and give you any accountancy advice. They are simply there to give you assistance on the software. So if you want to learn, or if you have forgotten how to send an invoice or reconcile a bank transaction or whatever it is, there's an 0800 telephone number that you can use to go and get the answers. It's free, doesn't cost you a penny. So
yeah,
I mean, that's great. Yeah,
that's really only going to be if I'm on holiday, I think, which that you I guess you generally use that. So if you basically go on the contact us and then get in touch, you can book 20-minute calls, put support codes in, and yeah. So in terms of where we go from here, so I will be helping each of you. Obviously, you're all at different stages of using it. So I'll be helping each of you. Basically, I'll book a call in with you.
I need to speak to guys as well.
Yeah.
About it, yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to force it upon you, but because that just doesn't.
Sorry, Craig.
It just doesn't help.
On a Zoom. I won't be a minute, darling. All right, see you, bye.
So I'm not going to force anybody to use it that it doesn't work for. But I think it's a really good piece of software, and so I'll help with setting up, training, and all that kind of stuff. So happy to book a specific one-to-one with UK and the lads just to set it up on each of your phones and desktops and stuff like that. We need to pick a date and we're going to start using it from, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll follow up and I'll book a time with you next week.
All right, that's perfect. Yeah,
great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining. Jenny, I've got an appointment to see you next Wednesday, and Diane, I'll also make an appointment with you, and we'll get the banking issue sorted, just so that we're happy. And then I'll probably pop across and see you on Wednesday, because it's just over the road with Jenny. So if Wednesday works for you next week, Diane. Great, thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's took just over an hour. So thank you for that, and thank you for.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let you all go and enjoy your weekend.
Got my brush and dust pan out now to sweep the glass up.
Oh, really?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
Hope it's not too bad. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.